everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Chanel in the City. I am your host, Chanel Omari, and I have such a special guest here today. I love her. She is one of my favorites on one of the most popular shows, hottest shows. If you're sleeping on it, people, you better be binge watching it. Married to Medicine. Okay, it's one of my favorite shows on TV right now on Bravo TV. She is one of my, I guess you could say, one of my favorite housewives on Married to Medicine. She knows how to keep her husband, who's an amazing doctor, in check. She knows how to give us that fashion girl with those vibes, and she knows how to inspire us to be everything, a mother, a wife, and a career woman. Please welcome our dear friend, Toya B. Harris. How are you?
Hey girl, I'm doing my thing. I'm absolutely fabulous. I have been chilling, relaxing, taking in the season, but I'm all good. So thank you for having me.
Can I just tell you, you look for a season. We're going to get into the season, and you've had a season. You look gorgeous. You always look
Thank you.
gorgeous.
Thank you. I have no reason to complain. So, the sun is shining. It's been a great day. So thank you.
Talk to us about your outfit right now. I'm loving the hat. I'm loving the vibe. I mean, what
You know,
inspired you today?
I promise you, really and truly, I just threw this on. I had one of those days today. I was like working hard on the tennis court. So I was like, oh God, I gotta hide these edges.
You're like, girl, I just threw this on.
I really did. And to be honest with you, my team is leading, girl, in this right here, in this little neighborhood division. So I was like, we have been putting forth quite an effort. So I was like, you know what? I gotta hurry up and put on something. So I was like looking at my closet. I was like, let me just throw on a cute little t-shirt vibe. And I was like, wait a minute now, we gotta be sassy. So I just put together a little something sassy for you, and these little waves came from my girl, my home girl from New York. She's been flying in all the time. So she's been putting me together, girl. And actually, this hair vibe came from Kenya, girl. She done turned me on to some good stuff.
Oh, for real? Kenya Moore.
Girl,
I love that you guys are like sisters and friends. I love it. How did that friendship come about? Because I love that, first of all, that hair. So is it Kenya Moore's line, or just she recommended you?
No, she recommended it to me. And we honestly met, through being on Bravo. But I used to love her. Like I literally would see her all the time in Detroit. We shared the same hairdresser. And I would just watch her come in, and he would silk press her hair out. And I'm like, is that hers? And I just always loved her because she was so pretty, just a beautiful brown girl. And, so just the coincidence of us living in Atlanta, living in the same area, was like, wow, and being on the same network was amazing. So
talking about that, I want to get to, the fact that this season was hard for you. Has it been helpful that someone like Kenya and other housewives and other Bravo celebrities from other franchises have been reaching out and supporting you? And they,
yeah.
I like these new friendships that you're starting with others, as well.
It's so funny that you would say that because, this season was hard for me. And it was one of those seasons where I had to do a lot of soul searching. I had to do a lot of self-reflection. And I did reach out. I reached out to Kenya. I spoke to, Drew Sidora because it was her first season too.
Yeah.
And she grew a lot as well. And, the Portias, we all kind of like bonded together and was kind of like, you know what, girl, this is going to be one of those times where you have to just sit back and say, you know what, it's not the best season for you, but is it going to break you or is it going to make you? And how you respond to the questions and, and how you respond to your friends on the show, you have to decide, is this something that's, that's for you, and is it something that, you can get over, and really and truly, I was looking at it from a standpoint of, does it hurt my family? Is it something that, I can grow from? And really, I decided it's something that I'm going to have to grow from. And so I've just taken it in stride. And now I'm just at a place where I'm like, I found my peace and I'm back smiling and, and enjoying, Toya again. And, I'm ready for the next chapter.
Yeah. And you could tell that you're in peace. Like you're glowing, you're happy. You can tell when someone's really genuinely happy. And that's why I'm happy for you. I loved you since season one. I mean, you were my girl because you always gave it straight. And I love people who really are honest about things. Like, you know what you are? You're like, I always say, like, you can see from the outside, you can see the bigger truth, right? So it's not just your truth, the person's truth. You see like the three sides to the truth. and you give it to us raw. And I like that about you. And you always stood your ground no matter how, whether you were bullied, you know, there were times where I felt or I saw where the audience saw you were being bullied, or which I'm sorry for because that's a serious topic. And I was like, oh, let me take my hoop. You want to come? You want to come
Right.
with me?
It's
Because
hard to use that word because you don't want to
sorry, yeah,
put it in a negative way. You know, you don't want to say, oh, she's being bullied, you
right,
know, but it's the truth be told. You know, it's like when you're standing alone in a very soft area of being a housewife, you know, and being pretty much the only one on the show who really wants that title. You notice that
right,
nobody ever wants to
yep.
come on the show and be the housewife. You
Right,
know?
they want to be the doc. You're right. That's what I found interesting about you.
Like with a mediocre career. You know?
Yeah, you're like I'm very. You're like. By the way, guys, I'm content being the housewife. There's
You
nothing
know,
to be threatened by. No,
I'm like, you know, because I'm at this place in my life where I'm like, look, I went to school, I have 2 degrees, you know, and I'm married well. And my husband's very intelligent, you know, and he's doing very well in his career. And we just came to a decision where we were like, look, our sons are amazing. Let's put forth all of our energy into that, you know, and it's been working. Like, I mean, you don't understand how amazing they are because we've decided to have me in the house. How much I know about their life. You know what I mean? How
yeah,
many conversations I've had with my sons that I wouldn't have if I was working a 9 to 5, coming home, putting forth another hour or two into that 9 to 5. We lose that connection with our children. And I know that because both my parents worked 9 to 5s and I didn't have the connection. You know what I mean?
same, yeah.
And it is amazing to be able to have and afford that opportunity. And it's just a benefit, you know. And if they miss that mark with their children, oh well, you know,
Right.
it's
But that's what I love about you. That's what I was going to ask about you. Is it hard sometimes or challenging for you when they say or people say, well, you're the housewife of a doctor, but they don't get that you're the lead, you're the driver or the passenger behind the driver in the vehicle. You are the one that makes him and get up every morning and want to do what he does, and you're the woman of the house, and there are a lot of things that you're doing too to keep up your family, right? So talk to us through that process, that journey for
you
you.
know the struggle where him and I are at right now because you know it's very difficult to. I remember when me and my husband we first were married. You know, when he used to say he was so content with being a physician, but I saw so much more in him. I was like, no, you know, God has so much more for you. I was like, it was like I saw him as the director, you
Yeah.
know, and you know, it was like when he was in med school, they saw him in that position, and so they molded him for it. So now he's amazing in that position as the director of hospitals, as a doctor too. But now I see him also stressed. And so now here I am leading the household, but also now having to slow him down and say, hey, are you putting yourself first? You know, when are you working out? When are you taking the medication for testosterone? When are you doing the things that you need to do to make sure Eugene is okay? And when are you giving back to your sons? When are you spending the quality time that they need for you to be a father? And that all those things come into play, you know, of me wearing the many hats of a mother, you know what I mean, as well, because I got to make sure that he's being the father that he needs to be, that he's being the doctor that he needs to be, but that he's also being the man that he needs to be around for the family. And that's what people don't get as well, you know, and still not forgetting about herself because for years, you know, I had put myself on the back burner. Like this was the first year in 13 years that I had ever went on a vacation by myself
Wow.
without my children, without my husband. And I was like, dang. So you're telling me I ain't never did the self-care?
Right. Like, what about me? Right. Because
What about me?
we forget about us, which I love that you're like inspiring us women to know that, like, hey, wait a minute, just because you're a full-time housewife or a full-time mother or a full-time career woman, you don't forget about you.
You don't forget about you because once you start doing that, then you start taking your stress and putting it on them. And that's what happened. It was like this season, I realized that I was stressed out everything I had was drained, and COVID just magnified it. It was like everything was gone. I didn't have any more in me. And
Yeah.
so,
I
yeah.
mean, that's what I was gonna say too. Your relationship, you seem amongst the cast, you and your husband, you seem like you both make an effort to really want to make it work. So no matter what happens, whether there are disputes, whether you're not on the same page, it does seem that you both make the effort. How do you do so? Maybe you can give us some tips, how to not give up on your marriage, how to not give up on your relationship. What does it take?
Ooh, a lot of prayer. A lot of prayer. A lot of believe in God that He will work, that He will work things through. But I was just talking to Simone about this today and yesterday, actually. And we were saying that it always takes two. It can't be one person making the decision to say, "Hey, I'm just gonna pray this thing through, girl," and God's gonna make it happen. Because it's like, no, God still give you freedom of choice. You still make the decision. And so if I'm the only one putting forth the effort, then it's not going to work. And so, me and Eugene decided a long time ago that if we're going to be in this marriage, it's going to be both of us that's going to make the decision to work at this marriage. And at any point, if one of us decides that we're not going to work, because this is a job, it's a whole job, a marriage. But if at any point one of us decide that we're not going to put forth the effort, then we're going to have a problem. And I think that's what you see on our show amongst other marriages. A lot of times the people decide that they don't want to put in the work, and that's when the marriage starts to fall apart.
Yeah. And that is true. I think that people can learn a little bit from you and him about the work and about marriage takes work, and relationships, great relationships always take work. Do you
Yeah.
feel
And
sometimes
never,
women, yeah, sorry, go on. I didn't mean to cut you
I was
off.
just saying, never easy. I mean, it's one day at a time, all the time. I mean, me and Contessa, we learned that this season ourselves, that I tell her, girl, it's been times where him and I are like throwing in the towel. I just can't do it anymore. I'm tired. And then you're like, okay, is it greener on the other side? No.
Right. Like, you know what? I'm going to tolerate now. Right. There's a way to like come back to it. As long as you guys come back to it, that's really all that matters.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Simone and Contessa, why do you think you get along? It seems you get along with them more than the other castmates who we'll get into this season. Why do you think so? Is there, talk to us a little bit about that bond.
Well, I know with Simone, it's always very sisterly. It's very, we've gotten to a place where we definitely listen to each other. We support each other. And, we talk every day. So it's more, she understands me and I understand her. And there's definitely a level of respect there. And I can appreciate that, from anyone, you know. As it relates to Contessa, some days I question because I'm like, did I just hear you say that on Watch What's Happening Live? Girl, don't have me come through this TV, you know.
Yeah, like how do you handle that?
You better cut that shit out.
I would be like, wait, what? I'd be like the girl in the ring, like, ah.
I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? you know?
And then, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you, because it's almost not two-faced, but it's because she has to do the confessionals, but how do you deal with that?
But then I go back to that place where I'm like, some people I realize do it for television, and then there's other people that do it for friendship. And I know that I've always been from the beginning an individual. I do it for friendship, and what people will realize about me and what I believe all my followers have always realized that I'm a true friend. I fight to the core for my friendships, and I guess that's probably will be the death of me. I just, I can't help it.
You're loyal.
Yeah, that is my thing. Um, I'm a very solid friend. I try to, even when my friends are not the greatest friends to me, I love on them and I expect certain things from them because I am very loyal to them. And then when I don't receive it in return, it's very difficult for me to trust them again. It has to be built, and I think that's, to be honest, I think that should be how marriage, friendships, and all relationships should be. And I think everybody deserves the amount of time they should be allowed the amount of time to, develop that trust again. And I think that with reality TV, though, you don't have that much time. Right. So they're like, hurry up.
People don't realize. They're like, hurry up, season 4. Round the corner.
You stay in another season.
You're like, wait, I thought that bitch was gone. No, I'm kidding.
Right. You're like, well, you didn't show me her contract because I don't need this.
But that's so true, because with reality TV, like, so just to share like something, the only thing I can relate to it as a third of it, like I had one time, a long time ago, a show with my real friends too. And I think it affected it, because you get on reality TV and there's just different things, like you said, you're dealing with. You're now on camera. That spikes things up. You don't know if people are there for real friendships, which also can get people into conflict of a lot of your storyline is about, I want the truth. Correct me if I'm wrong. I need the truth. I need everyone to be real with me. And I think that's where the disconnect is, because I was going to get into with Quad and Dr. Heavenly. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can tell us your side and clarify why you feel you were at odds this season with them, or they were at odds with you.
With me.
Because I feel like you just step back and you're like, okay, I'll give my opinion. And then it's kind of like you give your opinion. And then I think that's what triggers for some reason.
Yeah. I think with me, I try to joke. I joke a lot, but I'm not always, I don't take a lot of things serious. I try not to take a lot of things seriously, but I do take things seriously when it is personal, when it's a personal attack. And I think with Quad, for her, I was taken aback because I'm also the type of person that if I hurt someone's feelings, I'm always going to ask you up front. And we had already had the conversation. Hey, I was like, oh my God, did I hurt your feelings when I said A, B, and C? And she was like, no, I'm fine. It had been months. We had been talking about all kinds of other things. I was like helping her find houses. I'm like, girl, you want to be my neighbor? I'm trying to look for a house in the neighborhood. And then all of a sudden she was on the show and it was like, what you're mad at me? Like, is there some so it became this thing like, or are we looking for a storyline? Are we just arguing? And those type of things I don't like. Because if you're just looking for a storyline, girl, I can give you one. Like, what you want to talk about? Like, what you want to argue about? Let's find something else to argue about. Because I can give you something you did to me that really hurt my feelings back in the day. And we can really tackle that. You know what I'm saying? And have some real truth come out on television. Right. But what we're not going to do is argue about some petty stuff, that is silly and makes and irrelevant. That's what I can't do. And I feel like that's what Quad and Heavenly like to do. They like to come up with these dramatic scenarios over petty things, and which is fine because they feel like, hey, we can overcome that, But for me, it's like it's petty. Right. Let's talk about some real things. Like I could go back to season 1 when Quad lied and said I was driving drunk with my child in the car.
Right.
I never said anything about that.
Why not? How did you not?
Right. Exactly.
Takes that takes a very strong, amazing person, because I got to tell you, if somebody said that about me,
I let it go for years because I didn't want to be that girl that held on to a grudge to a castmate who I knew was going to be on television with me. So I was like, I'm gonna let this go. I'm gonna move on. And then I would see little things, petty things happen over and over and over for seasons and seasons. Oh, she's blowing up. Oh, look at her. She's in debt for years. And it was just like, really? So there were other things that we could have discussed for years, and I let stuff go. But then but that's how they are. Those individuals, they want to say things that is convenient, And like, even now she's like, oh, Quad, you're cutting into my check. You wanted me, you tried to get me fired. I tried to get you fired from our show. How? You said you weren't friends with us.
Which is a
I don't
big
know about
no-no.
her.
Yeah, it's like,
Right. I don't know
you got to be friends with the cast to be on the show.
possible that everybody forgot what Quad said, that we weren't good friends to her. She went on for a whole season and didn't want to film with us. Like, I'm like, are y'all kidding me? This girl brought on a whole new cast pretty much and filmed with them. Okay. And didn't even want to film with her husband, her ex-husband. But she's saying that we tried to get her fired. Girl, bye.
Right.
So I'm sitting here back like, but I tried to get you fired. Girl, you tried to get yourself fired. And now you're looking to place blame on other people. And so at this point, I'm just like, I really and truly have learned to ignore certain people that are irrelevant and don't matter. And she's one of them.
Right.
Anyway, so Heavenly just likes to talk. Heavenly likes a YouTube channel and she in her closet of 3 stories of nothing.
But that's great that you can compartmentalize, because even like, this podcast is about mental health too. Like for me, when I have these issues with women in life, and then I look at how you deal with it, it gives me hope, because I'm like, I don't know how to deal with it. And I like that you have a comeback for it, or you step up for yourself, or you defend yourself, because the one thing is to give this false narrative of like always being the bigger person and letting people hurt you all the time. That's also not okay.
Yeah,
somebody to talk about you or make stuff
girl,
up about you.
They love, girl, they're gonna always say, oh, she's the victim. I ain't never been a victim in my life, and I don't plan on ever being the victim in my life. I'm an overcomer.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Have any tips you could share with us? How do you overcome it with them? Like, how did you tune it out? Do you kind of laugh it off? Do you feel like,
no,
like you said, Dr. Heavenly, she just likes to talk. God bless her.
Honestly, I've learned that it's okay to cry.
Right.
It's okay to get to a place where you're like, it's not okay. And it's okay to say, you know what, I gotta pray on this and I gotta go through a moment. But once I go through the moment, I'm gonna be okay. And so I went through the moment and she's okay.
I love it. Do you see any reuniting? Do you see yourself reuniting with them and fixing the friendship moving forward?
I believe whenever you are a child of God, you are not perfect. And so you have to have a forgiving spirit. You have to. If not, you're gonna go to hell, girl, because God don't like ugly. So yeah, I have to be able to forgive all people. I just, I ain't got to be besties with them, girl. Because, the people, Jesus Christ, they want to be your bestie.
Because they don't deserve to see, they don't stare at this beautiful woman.
But we can definitely be cordial.
Right. Yes. I love that. Moving on to, so this season, the fallout with Anila. Talk to us about, I want to know your take on it, and why do you think the rumors got so almost out of hand? Or was it about the rumors? What was it about that she kept coming after you, or she kept, you guys you're at odds, and how's the friendship now?
I think honestly with Anila, it was something special initially because, I had a person who I thought was really, really, really sweet. And, and I think she still really is. But I think that she had an agenda, and her agenda was to definitely be on Married to Medicine. And, when individuals have an agenda to be on Married to Medicine, I think they look at it as though they have to argue with one of us. They have to have drama with one of us. And who better to have drama with than, your best friend or the villain on the show? And I think that she just ran with it. And it was silly. It was a silly argument that she thought that I was going to be able to just get over and blow it off. Oh, she's talking about me in the neighborhood. But for me, I didn't find it silly because this was a neighborhood that I had just moved into. And, and my children was here. And I didn't find it funny. I felt like that was, very below the belt, because these were people that I was developing relationships with, and they were new to me. And so when you have people that are new and are learning you, you don't want them to get a false perception of you because they're already watching a television show,
Right.
and they don't know anything about edits, and they don't know anything about what's reality, what's perception, and so I wanted them to understand the true Toya. And so I don't want them to see TV and then say, oh my God, is that her? Is that, or have a question about my character? And when I say my character, I don't mean my character on the show. I mean my character as a person. And so it really hurt me as a person to have her put that out there, that I was a bad friend. And so it made me have to take a step back from her because I felt like she knew me a little bit better than what she was putting out there. And, and I didn't want to really say the things that I knew about her. And I think when you see the reunion, I had to really bring receipts at that point, because I was like, girl, I've been really, really nice, actually. I really kept a lot of things to myself that I really didn't have to do all season. And so
that's what I was going to say. At what point do you set a boundary where you got to show receipts, right? That, because I know the reason I relate to you the most, I think, is because we're very similar in character, where I will never I will try to be that good friend, even though you've become my enemy, until I have to defend my character, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do?
And it's so crazy because, I've had my friends in my life since I was in second and third grade. Like me and my friends all go way back. Like I don't have a friend that's not.
Oh yeah, I see you guys on Instagram. I love that.
Yeah, like
so close.
Girl, my girlfriends and me, they're like, who in the world? And they always say, they're like, girl, I want to go on your Instagram and just go off so bad. I'm like, please don't, because it's like, they like, we really have grown up together. Like my friends are like my family. And so they look at some of the things on the show and they disgusted almost with some of the people in the comments, and they just sit back. Like I can't wait till the day we film in Detroit, like in Michigan, because it's just so many people that like have known me since I was a child, like a real child. And we've been just friends since then, like hundreds of people, hundreds, and my character speaks volumes, and they would never, ever say any of the things that any of these individuals have ever said about me. So.
You said something on that note. You did say something about how the cast, in order to move forward, you feel like the cast has to come more together, has to respect each other's feelings more, has to be more kind to one another. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I just feel like, when it comes to friendship and some of the things that I've learned in maintaining the friendships that I have, we love on each other. We can be very blunt with each other, but the reason why we've been able to be blunt with each other is because we've developed a certain respect level for each other. We don't cross certain boundaries. We look at each other and we say, hey, that's going to hurt her feelings. So I'm not going to say this in this way, but I am going to tell her the truth. And I think with this group of individuals, we have to learn that when I'm talking to Jackie, this might hurt Jackie's feelings, but I do need to be able to tell this to Jackie. So I'm going to say it in this way with love, and I'm going to respect her, but I need Jackie to receive it and be honest and, and give it back to me in the same way, in the way I need to receive it. And I think with this group, we sometimes miss the mark when it comes to respecting each other where we are, loving on each other, and really supporting each other and lifting each other up. And I would love to see that a lot more, amongst this group of ladies. That division that we have sometimes on the separate couches and all of that, it just doesn't need to be there, because we have one thing in common. We are truly, truly Black women raising amazing children, and I'm gonna say minority women, because Anila is a part of that mix, and we're raising amazing children that love on us every day. Anila's daughter today was like, Toya, and we love on each other. We should be loving on each other and loving on each other's children. I remember when Heavenly's daughter used to love to come over here and play with my goddaughter, and it's amazing to have that, they all go to the same schools, and they're all being raised in the same type of environment. So there's no reason why we shouldn't all be able to say respectful things to each other and even things that might hurt each other's feelings, but then in the end say, give me a hug. Just last night, me and my mother-in-law, we had to say some hurtful things to each other, but we ended crying on each other's shoulders,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, and we're like, I love you.
That's growing. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to cry. I'm like, is it the onions, Ma? Because she cries
That's
all
great.
these onions. Or am I crying? No, but it's really emotional because, especially what you said during this time, being Black women, it's important to stick together. It's important when you're a minority. I myself, I come from a Middle Eastern background, so I technically consider myself a minority. It's
That's
hard
right.
when you,
Around a ton, honey.
yeah, you
There-
gotta stick together. That's why it's important. It's important that you're saying this too, and the way you're saying it, because the only way you can make change is by what you're saying. I think,
That's-
right? Educating everyone is like saying, we're going to be kind to each other. We're going to stick together, and we all have something in common. And I love that you say that because it's true.
Yeah.
Talking about the reunion, I know we're going to wrap up real soon. Let's talk about the reunion. What
Girl.
can we expect from you, Toya, from the reunion? And just in general, with your friendships, what are we going to see? Are we going to see them taking off their doctor jackets?
I would have liked to have not yelled so much. You see, I still don't have my voice back. I'm here trying to drink water to get my voice back. I will say this though. The men surprised me at the reunion. They came full force. They should get their own segment.
They really are good.
They should get a day. They did their thing. My husband was very supportive at the reunion. The women, we definitely hashed some things out that needed to be said. We looked amazing. And Andy controlled the room. He did. He did it without a whip. And, and it was a great reunion. It was one of those reunions that reminded me of the Simone and Cecil. It was, it was a lot of things that needed to be said. We weren't trying to tear each other down. I remember a point when Quad tried to come in with some BS in the end, and Andy said, girl, we on some positive shit. Come on, get out of here with that.
Yeah.
We're done. And it was like, exactly. We were good. It was really good. So
do you feel like for a new season you can move forward with these women and what are you looking forward to?
I definitely feel like for a season 9, I'm not gonna come in yelling at the ladies and saying,
You're just gonna put your hat down and be like, listen, talk to the hat and I'll get back to you when I'm like in my piece.
Look, I might invite them to my hometown.
It's true.
We'll be good.
But how do you feel this season is different than all the other seasons? Like, what can we look forward to for Toya, and anything you're working on, please share with us as well.
Oh man, this season I hated that they did not show how amazing tennis has impacted my life this season, because literally it really changed my life. Girl, just having my own tennis team has inspired me to really look into building my own tennis center.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that
I've been looking
incredible.
Girl, okay. That alone has been my inspiration with that. And I've been working with a tennis pro. She has literally played with Serena. Girl, my tennis game is on point. Like, my tennis team literally is number 1 in the division. I'm like, we playing some tennis right now.
That's amazing.
That this season, we had so much going on that they didn't show, that I have my own skincare line now. So, because everybody's always asking me, how do you keep your skin so great?
I was gonna ask you that too. Yeah.
And she's my great aunt, but she's like a mother to me. Literally, we developed my own mask this season, and so I brought that out. Told a little bit of it. I didn't show how we was putting it together, which is cool because we had a couple of other ones in the pipeline. So I've been working on that as well. And so that's a little, and so that we have that on the pipeline that's coming out, more of that to show. And so there's a lot of things that's coming out that I love, that are more close to my heart and dear to me, not just, some things that I'm just, oh God, I'm just doing some stuff, but things that really matter. And, that are close to my family and just setting up shop with the boys, girl. My son, he's 11 and he told me he want to have a dinner party like mommy, girl. I'm
Girl,
just,
are the girls coming around? Oh my,
yeah,
are you having the talk of like dating?
I don't, I have no idea. I was like, are we inviting girls? He said, well, you can't. I was like,
Oh.
no, I don't know. I'm like, but he won't talk to me like about the girl, but like I
Right.
gotta reel it out of him. So I'm like,
You
where's
seem
my
like a cool mom though, right? Like
right?
that you talk to them about stuff.
I do, and my youngest tells me everything, but the oldest is a little more secretive. So,
Right.
you know,
Well, he might grow out of that, and he's gonna probably ask you for some tips for the woman. You know what I mean?
exactly. And guess what?
What?
The house sold.
Oh my God! Congratulations!
Yeah.
You're right. I wanted to talk to you real quick. Congratulations!
Randomly, they came yesterday, put an offer in, and yes.
That's amazing. How happy are you? Do you not feel relieved?
And so it's a little bittersweet. I don't
Sweet,
know.
bittersweet. That's what I meant. Like not relieved. I
Yeah,
meant the bitter is
I'm
bittersweet.
really, I had already put the money down on the lot. So I was like, oh my God, sorry. I felt it and I felt it that it was coming. But I was like, wow. So now it's time.
That's amazing. So now it's a really new chapter for you.
Yeah, another
New,
chapter.
new living space. New season.
Yeah,
God willing. Like
yeah.
it's a new.
I was-
That's
so,
and we can end it at this. What do you think it takes, or I guess to be a great married to medicine housewife, doctor, full time, just
um,
reality star, right? Like, what does it take? Because that's a power in itself that I don't think people give anyone credit, that you guys are putting yourselves
mm,
out there, and your life is putting yourself out there as a full time job is not easy for people to judge and see.
for me, it
Yeah.
takes you gotta be hella strong. And you cannot wear your feelings on your sleeve, girl. Because if you do, honey, they're gonna tell you, are, are you sure this is for you?
You're like, bitch, yes, it is. Sorry. You're like, yes, it is. Okay.
But and I think that, it takes you to be authentic. I think that that's my inner beauty. I try to just be myself. I think when you start trying to be somebody else, the public can see through it. And I think that that's why my audience loves me there. As soon as I start trying to be somebody, I'm like, who's that fraud? Quad the fraud.
Yeah, because
You
you've
know?
been on for 8 seasons. That's a lot straight.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you're an OG, and that's like really hard to do, like straight. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they're, so that's incredible.
I'm unchanging. I'm one of those individuals. I'm never content. So I'm always like, hey, what's next? What's the next chapter? And I keep it moving, and I'm always trying to do something different, even in my life. And this was an amazing chapter, but I'm like, what's next? Let's do it.
Right.
So,
Yeah. No, I'm so excited to see more things with you. I see like
yeah,
an empire with you. I
me
root
too.
for you. I do. I see the Toya Bush Harris
Look,
empire.
that was on my
Is
vision
that on
board.
your vision board, girl?
Turning
Yes.
global and building relationships, building big businesses. Anything is
You
possible.
see, vision boards, guys. This is what I tell the audience all the time.
Yeah,
Vision
I
boards
have a
is what
decade of dreams.
I love it because you're organized, because you're actually putting it out there, right?
Yeah, right.
One thing you want to tell the audience that they could take away this season from you, that you want them to take away from
Just take away that, what, guys, I want you guys to understand one thing for sure, that she is not angry. She is a individual that definitely she's an overcomer. And you gotta, find your inner strength, and it's okay to be at a place of, it's okay to, to have a setback, but to come back. And I feel like at this place in my life, I'm coming back strong and amazing, and I have a great support system, and God is in my head. And so, let's just make it happen in 2021, 22, and 23, and 24.
you.
So,
Amen. I love that. What's
yeah.
one place in Chanel in the City wants to know, audience, one place in the city that you love to go to, whether you're in New York or in your hometown, that you suggest to go to escape, food, whatever it makes you happy?
So in the city. So where do I love to go to make me happy? The mall.
Yes, that's great. That's a great answer. That is a great.
Look, Woodland. What is it? Woodland outlet.
Yes, yes. It would. It's a. I always say Tiger Woods outlet. I think it's the Tiger Woods outlet.
Right. I can stay there for
I
9 hours.
Tanger Woods. You're right. The Tanger Woods outlet. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. In the city. Oh.
Oh my
That's
God.
good taste.
I love that. It's called Wood. It's out there by the Navel.
Yeah, you nailed it. It's the Tanger Woods outlet. Yeah, you're
Oh
right.
my. They have Zimmerman there.
Yes. And all for cheap, like nice
Yeah.
clothes for cheap.
Oh, that's my little hidden secret.
I love it. You heard it here first, guys. Toya Bush Harris, secret little hidden secret. Toya, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We love you. We're rooting for you. We can't wait to continue your journey. Where can everybody follow you for any updates, and where can they catch the reunion?
Oh man, you can follow me at Toya Bush Harris on my IG, my Facebook, my Twitter. And guys, y'all got to tune into that reunion the first week in July. That's Sunday at 9 p.m. I'll be tweeting. Hey guys, it's Toya Bush Harris from Married to Medicine, and you're listening to me with Chanel in the City podcast.